Nice. So Steve, over the years, Steve Koleno, who's coming up next right now, has quietly built a successful track record representing investors, rehabbers, private equity companies, and large institutional investors in their real estate transaction. He began his real estate career in 2006 as an inventor and investor, and spent the next 10-plus years specializing in the single-family industry. From building his own company of 60-plus rentals to later becoming responsible for overall operations performance for $820 million in assets and 4,900 single-family homes as vice president of the largest publicly traded single-family residential real estate investment trust. In 2016, his leasing career hit its peak when he closed 1,253 MLS rental transactions in 2 states with a team of high-performing leasing agents. What we are going to talk about with you guys right now is we're going to talk about how you're one system away. Because how many of you have heard over and over again, you know that you need better systems by a show of hands? And yet you know it, but we don't necessarily do it. So guys, do me a favor and give a nice Jared James advance welcome to the stage, Steve Koleno. Come on. All right, so let's get right into this, man. So right off the bat, why don't you take a moment and just kind of share with people who you are, why you're here, why I thought this would be beneficial for everybody. Just kind of take a moment, say hello to everybody, and just share why you're here and what we're doing.
Very good. This is on, right?
Yes, it's on, right? You guys can hear him?
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit. Obviously, that was a great intro. I obviously came into real estate. I've been involved in real estate as an investor and then got into the institutional side with some really large companies after the downturn that started buying properties. And I worked my way up kind of through hard work, and I'm one of those folks who just put a lot of effort in everything I do. But I was in a corporate environment, right? So I was with, I was a salaried employee, struggled to make a little above 6 figures, and always wanted to kind of separate myself as an independent agent. Always thought that might be a good, I always knew that was going to be my career in the future.
Right.
And then finally had a break in 2016 and made a run at just basically becoming a real estate agent in a very competitive environment, obviously, where we already have.
So that was in 2016 when you said, you know what, I've done all this institutional stuff, whatever. Yep. I'm going to be a real estate agent.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I believe 2017 is when I became an independent agent.
Okay.
Middle of 2017.
Awesome.
And
when did you, by the way, because the way we do this is kind of off the cuff.
Yep.
And again, guys, we kind of prepare, but really I just want to get the most out of him in the short amount of time we have. When did you join coaching?
So I just hit my year anniversary of coaching in July 29th was our date I started coaching.
Okay, perfect.
My first coaching call with Charles is my coach.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
Yeah, Charles.
Look at that. Charles, you're watching, man. I hope you appreciate that.
Yes.
That's good. All right, awesome. So you started in real estate, and you came to the advance last year.
I did not, so I didn't even see your videos. I learned by watching your videos, but I didn't even see your videos until the July timeframe.
Okay.
And then I believe I paid for, so I didn't even know what the advance was.
Gotcha.
But I think you had something, and I paid $95 to watch a replay of the advance.
Okay.
And then there was somebody, and I don't know if he's here. I tried to look for him last night. Somebody named Corbin. I don't know if he's in the audience or not, but he was a speaker last year at this event.
Last year, correct, yeah.
Yes, and his story just hit me because his story was he was a guy doing pretty good. He had like 50 closings, and he was very active like myself, a workhorse. We were going to be successful anyway, but then he's like, and he didn't have an admin, and I didn't have an admin. When I first reached you last year, I had up to 72 listings and had closed 52 deals. I just looked through my book before I came here.
Yep.
And had no admin. I did all my own DocuSign. I did every document, everything.
Where is your wife right now?
My wife is straight and back there videoing. She's raising her hand.
And
my
she
beautiful
must be
wife.
a saint.
She is beyond a saint.
To stay with you.
Yes.
Doing all of that work.
Yes.
Okay.
Much like you explained yesterday, your family, my wife has their sacrifices when you work as hard as we do.
Okay.
But those were tough times because I did everything. I had to stay up late doing everything.
Meaning like when you say everything, are we talking like did you have, like, 'cause I had someone up here yesterday, they're like, I do everything, but I do have an admin, we're trying to work that. Like when you say everything.
I had no admin. My wife was there and she started getting into more. We bought a Matterport camera and she started getting into more marketing and social media. But I had nobody helping.
And isn't that what you do
admin.
usually? You pull someone close to you, and it's like, whether they know what they're doing or not, I just need you to handle this.
Yep.
Right? I mean, isn't that kind of how it works?
Yep.
Okay.
No, absolutely. So when I heard Corbin on the advance, it just hit home. It really did. And he was saying how he had nothing, and then he ended up getting coaching, and they had him hire an admin, and that's exactly what happened to me. So last August, we joined coaching at the end of July.
Yep.
First meeting with Charles, I still remember that meeting. He was like, what are your numbers? What are your financial numbers? I'm like, I have no idea. That's the least of my... So he immediately put me in contact with a software I still use today. It's incredible. It's called CTE. I use it for everything, and somebody doing the volume I was doing, it is just unbelievable software. So if you guys look that up, it's just amazing. And then the very first thing he had me do was, he's like, we're going to get you an admin. And I came from a corporate experience. I managed 46 people. I was in an environment, so I'm not a person incapable of knowing I needed assistance. I had 6 assistants at a corporation when I did all those rentals, right? But when you're caught into it, I'm telling you, you don't know. Like, you know, but you don't have time. I have high ADD. I'm wired, you know, and you just don't know. But Charles, right away, first thing we're doing is an assistant. And then the best thing we could do was he had me do the disc profiles to make sure we were going to hire the right person for my very different personality, probably like Jared's. But it had to be a
you guys have heard
person.
me say this before, right? Like, we tend to, when it comes to growing, it comes to expanding, like attracts like. We like to be around people like us, right? But I want you to imagine for a moment what would happen if you worked for you.
Yeah, that's good.
Right? So our initial instincts are not necessarily what you want to go with, okay?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So we just started putting systems in for everything. So obviously, I had some of those skills before from my background, and then Charles is just amazing. And Donna may remember, I'll admit this on stage now. I don't even know if Charles knows this, but it's tough because when you have somebody hold you accountable, they're going to hold you accountable. First, to your goals. They say, what are your goals, right? And I had very aggressive goals. And that first year, we only closed 16 deals. I was an agent for about a half a year, and I closed 16 deals and struggling like everyone else.
Really quickly, I want to hit this point. I was going to save this for the end. Tell them what you've closed the last 3 years consecutively: 2017, 2018, 2019. How many deals? Let's put it this way: how many deals you closed in 2018?
So 18, we closed 124 deals.
How many deals are you going to close this year?
Right now, we've already closed 250, so we're trending towards 300. Yep.
Now, before we get into what you're about to tell the story of Donna, I didn't know this, but when I reached out to you, because I stay involved with everything that's going on and like who's doing what and what's working for people and what's not, and your name came up as somebody, the coaches all report to me and they say, this is somebody you should be talking to, this is somebody you should be watching, this is somebody, and I reached out to you. And I said, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you about potentially getting up on at the stage of the advance.
Yes.
And I had no idea about this, but you shared with me a couple weeks ago, what that meant to you or like what the goal that you had. Why don't you share that with everybody?
Yeah. So one of my main goals with Charles, when I first met Charles on the first meeting, he basically asked, what is your main goal to get out of this? And I am not driven by money. If you know me, I am not driven by money. Just through past experience being an investor during a downturn, I'm just not motivated by money. So my main goal was to basically be Corbett on stage. So I told my coach for day one, my goal is to be at the advance next year. That was my only goal. I didn't give him any financials.
Not just to be at the advance.
Be at the advance, be on stage. And it was a little more bold than that because on October 5th, because I just looked at and I showed Jared this last week or something, email. I actually put on bottom, P.S., I am going to do everything I can to work my butt off to make sure you have no choice but to put me on stage at next year's advance. And I have it in writing, putting my goal out there. So,
and guys, just so you know, I did not know that. Like, I
didn't.
don't, I get told by a lot of people that's their goal, and I go, awesome, you know, whatever. But that was his goal, and so it made my day when he sent that to me, and he said, you have no idea what this means to me. Like, I made a goal that it wasn't about money, it wasn't about whatever. He goes, I'm going to get on that stage, I'm going to do everything my coach says, and I'm going to make it impossible for you to not put me on that stage.
That's how I worded it.
Let me tell them what made a difference for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that made my day, man.
No, you got it.
So, Donna's story.
Yeah, so real quick, and I don't even know if Charles, my coach, knows this, but because the accountability it's important, but you conflict, right? It's not easy. They're going to hold you accountable. And it was tough. So I remember like a month in, 6 weeks in, I remember calling Donna going, I'm not sure if Charles is right. I'm not sure if he's the right coach. Because I was feeling the pressure of being held accountable to what he was going to have me do, and it was out of my comfort zone.
Addicted to unproductive patterns.
Yep. And so but sooner or later you realize he was the perfect coach. I mean, unbelievably.
So how was that handled, though? You called Donna, and Donna didn't just say, yes-em?
No, I mean,
she was like, no?
Donna listened to me, and she says, you know what, give it time, and we did. But she said, ultimately, if it wasn't going to be the right coach, there's ways we can switch it out. But she's
like, not yet.
No. And I'm glad she didn't, because Charles is literally, for me, and my personality, he's the perfect coach.
And yet, within a month or two, you thought, this just isn't.
I was throwing my hands up already. I was like, it's uncomfortable. It becomes
very uncomfortable, right?
Yeah,
people always ask all the time, and I wasn't going to do this, but people are like, why do you make people in the first year sign a 12-month agreement?
Yep.
You go month to month after that.
Yep.
We do it to protect you.
I probably agree
because
with that.
2 or 3 months in, you're going to be going, you know what, I don't really, I'm going to go back to what I was doing before.
Yep.
And when you don't have that option, you have to stick with it. And by the time you get to the end, it's like, all right, now I'm good.
Yep,
now
absolutely.
I trust this person. But in the first 2 to 3 months, it'd be nice if it's just kumbaya. But the truth is, if your coach is doing their job, there's a little part of you that's like, I don't want to talk to them.
Correct.
Right.
Yep. And then what we did is, we closed 124 deals last year. And so when I met with Charles at the beginning of the year on one
I was
of our
going to say, tell me
coaching
the transition, because you go from 124 to now you're going to do 300. So you either your wife hates you and then she hates you more this year, or
Sorry, honey.
What was the difference?
Everything was basically systems we implemented. So we sat with Charles, and I already had some basic systems. We used stuff, free tools like Trello. We still use Trello today, me and my admin. And then we set a goal at the beginning of the year to close 194 deals. That was my goal with Charles, right? We're over that. We've overshot
a little bit over that, yeah.
We're a little bit over that. We're doing okay, but that was our goal, 194. So I have that up on my board. I have that everywhere. And we started implementing systems on everything.
That's a very specific goal, 194.
Yeah, it was very calculated.
195 seemed a little high. 193.
I had if I can't.
You knew
I can't
you don't have to do it
explain
now, but you knew exactly.
My wife knows why, because I'm a mad scientist, so I have it all calculated.
Gotcha.
Okay. But that's what we did. So we started implementing systems on everything. So I'm one of those people that when Charles would tell me to do something, I did it. Even to some tools I haven't even fully utilized. Like
right.
I'm part of Cole Resource, right? We implemented recently Agent Legend, right? To try to help my business even grow more. The CTE software was fantastic. So
you got your CRM in order.
Yeah, we have a CRM. We continue to use that and push forward.
Did you make any other hires? So
yes,
you had
actually from your. So when this is a few months when you initially called me and we had a call possibly about being on the advance.
Oh, that's right. I remember that because I was like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?
I was once again bleeding and feeling the pain and growing so fast and telling Jared our numbers. And then he's like, you need to hire a virtual assistant. So I already had my wife full-time doing our marketing. I have my full-time admin who I hired with Charles from the first month.
Yeah.
And then you were like, what about a VA? And I'm like, well, I need something. And you had me call my outdesk.
I did.
And I now use my outdesk. I have a full-time virtual assistant from the Philippines who works from 3 to 12 midnights, 5 days a week, and covers me on weekends. So that way we can handle. We do a lot of listings, and I take a lot of offers. We've taken over 680 offers. I use an offer platform, and I have a system for my offers, and we have coverage basically 16 hours a day for 5 days.
So you and I were talking, and you know what? I forgot about this, but you and I were talking, and you were basically telling me, in order to try to get up here, like, here's what's been great. Here's the system that's going on. Here's who he made me hire. Here's who whatever. And then you were telling me more about your business, and I'm like, wait a second. Why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you? And I remember your face on the thing, and you were just like. I don't know. I don't know.
That's correct.
And the main thing that comes from that, guys, that I really want you guys to get from this conversation with me right now, with me and him right now, is it's not that we got on there and we found some stuff and we did whatever. I wasn't even aware of this, but as a result of that call, what did he go do?
Yep.
He didn't talk about it.
Yep.
He didn't think about it. He didn't whatever. He was like, yeah, I don't know, Jared. I don't know why I didn't do that. You probably went and talked about it with your coach.
Right.
I would assume.
Yep.
And then as a result, right at it, okay, we're doing it, okay? And there was probably some hiccups. There was probably some things you had to figure out. There was probably some of that. But a world without that was a lot worse than a world with it when you get it figured out, right?
Yep.
So it wasn't thinking. It was just...
Yeah, and I think part of it is I'm quick to make those decisions, right? So as you have success and you build some money, right, we invest it back in the business. But even the one thing I haven't done is like bomb. I know I need to do it. My coach tells me all the time he has it. I need to do it. Well, yesterday I walked by the bomb thing, the booth, and he was like, why don't you have it yet? And I'm like, I just never got to it. He's like, let's do it now. And I just did it then, right?
Good for you, man. Good for you. Good
so
for you.
because I know I need it, right? I know I need it. And as you start looking at different products, even my CRM, Agent Legend, it's all integrated with bomb now.
But here's the funny thing, though. Like when you're hearing this, I say this to people all the time. There's systems, there's hires, there's whatever. Remember what I said yesterday? There's seasonalities. Maybe he shouldn't have had bomb back then, right? Yeah. He needed to get those other platforms ready. He needed to know that they were working. He needed to get his VA set up. He needed to, and now the nice thing is, he went and signed up for bomb, and he's now going to use it. Because it's not going to be a big cluster of 8 things where he's going, which one does what? How does that work? And how does this? It's a process. He was going to be on this stage before he hired the VA, before he went and signed up for bomb, because it was about the process, not the finished product. Does that make sense to you guys? Good?
Yes, absolutely.
So, man, it's a quick one here. Is there any one thing, I'm asking everybody I bring up, is there any one thing you'd want to get across to them as a result of being up here, one thing you think that they need, or one thing, like, what would you tell the audience?
Yeah, so, I'd say coaching. So, I came from a corporate background where I already had systems, I already had assistants, I knew I needed it all. But I'm telling you, like when I started to be a realtor, I had no sales. I just started with the general public 27 months ago. That's it. I started 27 months ago being a salesman, right? Somebody to hold you accountable to your own goals, even when you know it. I knew it. I have a master's degree. I was a vice president of a big company. I'm a smart guy, right? I knew you needed to do it, but I didn't do it until Charles tells me to do it. And then somebody said it yesterday, something with Charles, but if you don't do it and you're on the next call, it's an uncomfortable call. Like, it's uncomfortable, and it's not a joke. Like, it's uncomfortable.
I can't care more about your goals than you do.
That's it, yeah. And so I've had some of those even recently with Charles, with my Agent Legend and trying to implement it, and I'm not going at the speed I need to, and they're uncomfortable calls. And then you got to get back and jump on it. But I think the coaching is incredible. I really do, not just because we're here and I'm on stage saying it. It holds you accountable to things that you can't hold yourself accountable. Everybody needs a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach. Everybody needs it, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, guys, how about a round of applause here for Steve Koleno? Hey, oh, man, I appreciate it. Awesome job, man. Awesome job.